Welcome friends, welcome to JCE Connect. You may be worrying that how to write this specification as you'll be having the huge notes in the form of paragraphs. But today I'll be telling you the simplest form of writing this specification for the building construction. All of you know the few of the no all of you know the specification. It will be containing the huge phrases, huge pages, and some of the notes what I have given to you guys, it will be a very hectic for you guys. So let's see how to write a simplest way, or I'll show you the how to write the specification in the simple form. Just check it out. Let's see the first specification, that is for the specification for the earthwork. Friends, before going to the detail with this earthwork excavation, just what I'll tell you the idea of writing the specification. The specification is the thing that if you know the detailed specification, then only it is possible to execute the work on the site. That is for the workers, that is for the contractor, that is for the engineer. They should know the specification, then only it is possible to them to execute the work on the field. But for the student, how to write that? If you know the field details, how to execute the thing in the field, then you can easily write down the specification, right, in the examination. So same thing I have did there. I am having a no good experience of executing the work on the field, so based on that I have got a sequence. Now this sequence you can have in the Rangwala book also. Rangwala also has given the very beautiful sequence of writing the specification. Now see here, I am having a six different sequences here. First of all, I'll be starting the work, then no, I'll be talking about the workmanship, then materials, what to do with that material when you'll be excavating it out, then protection work of the existing, that whatever the existing underground laying will be there, that protection work you have to do. Then you have to do the measurement, how to measure it for the building. Then you have to check it out for the rates. So these are the few sequences that what I'm going to follow for the excavation. Now if you see the first sequence, that is start of work. As you lay down the work, when you will be having the layout, after the layout what you have to do is that you have to carry out the excavation work according to the plan or the drawing, right? Then it depends on the type of soil, which type of a soil you will be having. Based on that, you have to assume or you have to opt the method of excavation. Now you go to the workmanship. Now if you write these things will be enough for the first, no, that sequence. Now second sequence is workmanship. Here you are supposed to write about the way you are going to execute it, or how the laborers are going to work it out there, or how best you can do for that work, that you have to write in the workmanship. Now see, all side you have to protect by the timber. Then side should be truly vertical and bottom should be uniformly level. That what it says means that you have to put your best effort to protect the sides as well as the bottom, right? Then next we are going for the excavated materials. They, what you are going to do of that material which you are going to excavate out. Now here excavated material shall be, no, you have to stocked away from the sides of the trenches, at least 2 meter away you have to heap it out. Then what you have to do is that you have to know whatever the surplus material will be there, that you should lead or you should take it away for the 100 meter. That concept of lead and lift, right? A lift of 2 meters should be there and lead of 100 meters should be there. Even you can use this whatever the no the surplus material you will be getting, that you can use it for the plinth filling also. That is also very no important thing. Then the next is, see, protection work. Protection work, as I said, that you have to make sure that whatever the existing work will be there. Existing work means, suppose you will be having the pipelines, sewer lines, electric cables. You have to make sure that you will be protecting those existing work. Then after protecting, then you are supposed to start the work. Now whatever the protection or the protected the work whatever will be there, now that will be directly related to the contractor. It has to be bear by the contractor, and if anything goes wrong, the contractor will be going to pay for that. Now you should follow the, or the labor should follow the instruction by the contractor, and contractor should follow the instructions from the engineer. That will be there in the protection of existing work. The next one will be measurement. How to measure it? Now you are supposed to get the billings. Billing has to be done by the measurement, right? First it is directly dependent on the measurement. So measurement you have to do, you have to get the quantity, and that quantity you are going to get by measuring the length, width and the depth. Now this is what will be there in the measurement. The next one will be the rate. How to fix the rate for this? Now how we are going to fix the, there will be a rate analysis for that, and that rate analysis is going to be we are going to consider, there we are going to considering the timbering work, and there we are going to consider the all no the equipments which you are going to use. And it depends on the rate, on the type of soil. The rate is directly dependent on the type of soil, which type of soil is there for the excavation. Now if you see, if in a hard soil, the rate will be very high. In a loose soil, rate will be very low. Now, this is the very simple form of writing the specification for the excavation. Now we'll see the next specification, how we are going to write down. Yes, my dear friends, the next specification is about the dam proof course, right? Now here also I made a sequence, right? Now this sequence, as I said that previously also, like the same sequence is there in the Rangwala. Actually, no, I can easily go with the Rangwala for this specification. What I advise is that please go with the Rangwala, because he has given very beautiful way of writing the specification. Just what I made a frame for that, and then the whatever site experience I'll be having, then same I'll be no using it here, right? Now see, this is my sequence, and we'll see what will be there in the sequence. Once if you know how to execute that work on the field, then it is very easy to write down the specification. Now first about the proportion. See, for dam proof course is a concreting work, you know the proportion. They will be giving a proportion like 1:2:4, 1:3:6. The whatever proportion is there, you have to follow that proportion. Then there will be a ratio which you are going to follow with the cement, sand and aggregate. Usual thickness of dam proof course will be of 25 to 40 mm. Now these are the main punching words. Along with this, you can have few more words and you can make a paragraph for this, right? So this is the way that you are going to write in the examination. Then course aggregate. Now see, if you draw this frame, that is also fine, but it is better to write in a paragraph. This frame you can remember the things, that's why I'm making this frame here. uh, the second item is course aggregate, the second sequence is course aggregate, and here what you have to do is that you have to write down the properties of course aggregate, how the course aggregate should be there. And for the dam proof course, we usually go for the size of 12 mm to 6 mm, and it should be free from all kinds of impurities, and it should be hard, it should be dense, right? So those properties it should follow. Then next will be the fine aggregate. Now fine aggregate, how should be the fine aggregate? Fine aggregate should be clean, and it should be a bit coarser, and having a size of around about 5 mm, right? And it should be free from the all organic and organic impurities, right? Then cement should stand all the test, means it should be no comply all the test which you are carrying out in the field as well as on the into the laboratory. So cement fresh, it should be fresh and it should comply the standard requirement. The next one will be the waterproof compound. Now this you are going to mix with the water, and waterproofing compound to be used shall be of a standard specification, and during which the water you are adding, that should be of a clean, that should be of a stand with the standard requirements. It means it should be a clean and it should be fresh one. The next one will be the mixing, how you are going to mix it. See, whatever the concrete mixing you are going to do, now first you have to mix in a dry way. Then whatever the dry mix is there, that you have to turn it out. Then after adding, now you have to overturn that thrice to mix it in a proper way if you are doing it manually. And if you are using machine, then there is a no problem. You should have a rotation of each drum at 1.5 minutes, right? One rotation should be there at every interval of 1.5 minutes with a machine mixing, right? And then preparation of a base. See, if you are having the plinth column, sorry, plinth beam is there, at the column base. If you are having a plinth beam, then there is a no problem. We can easily lay the dam proof course on that plinth beam. If you don't, then you should prepare a brick base there, right? A brick base should be there. Over that brick base, you are supposed to prepare the no you are supposed to lay the no concreting or DPC laying. I have written here how the laying should be there. The DPC should laid to the full width, right, of the plinth or of the superstructure mentioned in the drawing and design. The whatever width will be there, to that width and to that thickness you are supposed to lay the DPC. And curing, now at least 7 days you have to cure it compulsorily. More than that is preferable, so you have to write that. Now you have to keep that in mind, that it should be cured for 7 days. And measurement, as I said that, see, this is a square meter quantity. Here we are not going to consider the depth, here we are going to consider the length and width only. So this is a meter square quantity, a superficial area you are supposed to consider here. Now this is the way to write down the dam proof course specification. Along with these words, if you write few more words, then that is no, it is very welcome if you write few more words along with this. Just write down the heading and just explain the whatever things will be there. Now here, the whatever green thing you are seeing, so these are the all punching words what I have opted from that whole paragraph. Now we'll see the few of the important questions along with this. What will be the no objective type question and what will be the descriptive type of question? The chances, probably chances of getting the questions on these two specifications. So my friends, here the descriptive type question will be, see that descriptive type question, you may get the direct question like write down the specification for earthwork or write down the specification for dam proof course. And if you want to know the objective type question, which will you will be worrying about, that is that first one is excavated material shall be stacked away from the side of the trench at a least of 100 meters. Then surplus material, no, this is of a 2 meter, right? You should stacking should be of 2 meter. This is of 2 meter, right? First one will be of 2 meter. Surplus material should be laid to the lead will be of 100 meter, right? This is of 100 meter. Lead will be of 100 meter. And no stacking should be of 2 meter. Then measurement of earthwork can be done, it is a meter cube quantity, so length into width into depth you are going to take here. Then for dam proof course, so usual thickness of dam proof course should be, so usual thickness of dam proof course, I think it should be of 25 to 40 mm. And then you will be having the coarse aggregate for dam proof should be free, should be from, should be from, the size of coarse aggregate should be of 12 mm to 6 mm. Then a DPC course shall be kept well watered at least for 7 days. The measurement of DPC should be in terms of meter square. Now these are the few objective type questions you may get whenever you'll be facing any online examination. And for the description, these two direct questions you are going to get there. Well, friends, the next specification item is first class brickwork, and this is one of my favorite no work means favorite specification, that what I really enjoys to write in my college days. So I have written the sequence of brickwork. You know that how it is going to lay in the site. You should know the property of a brick. You should bring up a good quality bricks. Then you should soak those bricks. Then prepare a mortar. Then no stack, go on stacking the bricks in a required formation, either a English bond or in a Flemish bond. And you should have the proper joints there. Joints should be staggered, there should not be continuation of a joints. And then measurement should be in terms of length, width and depth. You should use scaffolding whenever the height goes beyond 1 meter, and you should consider the rate. So this is the normal sequence of uh, the writing of the brickwork, but I have that sequence written here and few more terms I have added to that. Now we'll see the first one is what is that, the properties of brick, how the brick should be. It should be table mounted, well burnt and copper colored, free from no cracks and sharp edges, uniform size and shape, and maximum crushing strength of 10.5 Newton per mm square. There may be chances that you may get the objective type question on that 10.5 Newton per mm square. Then we're going for the, these are the properties that you have to keep in mind. If you know few more points, then just write down there. Then soaking in a water, I mean you should well soak that, no brick should be well soaked in the water for at least 12 hours, right? And shall not absorb water more than half of its weight. And after soaking of 1 hour, that soaking criteria you have to keep in mind. Then mortar, you should follow the ratio, whatever the ratio it is given, 1:2, 1:3, whatever the ratio they have given, that you just follow that ratio. And cement should be standard quality, sand should be clean and bit coarser, preferably a river sand. Then water, you should use drinking water, or you can call it the potable water for the no for construction purpose. Then workmanship means how to do the standard work, how to maintain the standard work. It tells about the execution of work, right? Workmanship, usually one thing you have to keep in mind, that you are not supposed to use the broken bricks or the brick brats on a regular equation. So at the corners you can use no some of the queens, right? Cuyons you can use, so that can you can done by whenever you'll be having the corner portion there. And you can have the mortar joint shall not be exceed more than 10 mm. Then brick should be laid when frog up position. Only skilled labor you are supposed to use there. because it is a very important work, and you should check the plumbing every time. That level you should check, verticality you should check, horizontality you should check, and it should be well watered at least for 15 days. That you have to keep in mind. One more thing that you please keep in mind, that uh, continuous work should not be there, means work should not carry out more than 1 meter height at a time, right? And whenever you are going for the more than 1 meter, you are supposed to have the scaffolding with it. That what I have written here. And then measurement, how we are going to do the billing is directly done on by measuring the length, width and depth. And depth, you know the depth, it may be the floor height, floor to floor height. And width maybe 1 brick thick, 2 brick thick, half brick thick, 1.5 brick thick, right? And length, as per the drawing, you have to check it out. Then scaffolding, as I said, that if work goes beyond 1 meter height, then you are supposed to use the scaffolding so that you can continue the working for further height. Scaffolding should be strong, it should be sufficient enough, it should have sufficient support to stack the material on the scaffolding. And it should be provide a proper platform to stand on that, and it should stand a load coming on it, right? And then rate we are going to consider whatever the workmanship rate will be there, whatever the rate, all rate we are going to consider. Along with that, you are supposed to consider the scaffolding rate also. Now this is what all about the first class brickwork. Then we'll go for the next. Okay, so next specification is about the timber doors and windows. So this is the timber work. And timber work, I just have the set sequence as properties of a timber, then fabrication and fixing. It includes the fastening and fixtures fixing, then design of shutter and frame, then workmanship. You're supposed to paint that work, then you're supposed to measure it, and then you're going for the billing work. So first of all, we go with the properties of a timber. The timber should be of a best quality. It should be well seasoned, free from the cracks, knots, flaws and other defects. And fabrication, if you're talking about the fabrication and fixing, here the first thing, foremost thing is that you should have the standard frame with a size of, see, 100 into 80 that is standard size. You should the standard size hold fast, hold fast, that is 300 into 6 length. See, 300 into 6 into 200 length. Then 3 hold fast minimum should be there for the door and window frames, right? Then 3 hold fast for the door, and 2 holds fast for the window should be there. When you are going for the design of shutter and frame, keep in mind that the shutter thickness should not be more than 40 if you should have you should have a more thickness, but no, it will be more costlier if your thickness is more. Then shutter shall be, it will be of fully paneled, fully glazed, or it may be a partially paneled or partially glazed. That what I have mentioned it here. Then workmanship, if you are talking about the workmanship, it is not a work of unskilled labor, so skilled carpenters are required there. Then next thing is that the timber shall be of a best quality, as I said. And crafting should be done very carefully. Bad workmanship, if any bad workmanship is there, and that is labeled by the contractor, and it has to be paid by his own cost. And when it comes to the oil painting, next sequence is oil painting. The sides of the of the of the brick wall, that shall be coated with a that you can call it as a no chocolate paint, or you can call it as a coat, right? And 3 coats of oil paint you are supposed to apply for the frames also, right? That frames also, and for the shutters also. Then measurement, how we are going to measure it? See, usually this is very important thing, that usually we measure meter, according to the is is standards, or the, you can call it as the Indian standard, or the Indian specification. How we are going to measure it? We are going to measure it in meter square, right? This is the SI unit, what we are going to take, it is in meter square. Here you can see that meter square. But when you go to the field, right, and when you are going to buy a wood, you're supposed to get that wood in terms of cubic feet. That whatever the seller will be there, or the person who is going to sell that, so that he's going to sell in feet cube. That, in local language we call it as what, ghan foot, right? If you go to the that wood cutting shop or the wood shop, you can ask wood there, and he'll be selling it you to in form of a ghan foot, right? That you have to keep in mind. Ghan foot means feet cube, right? Feet cube. Then we are going to consider the rate. It should be including the fasting and fixtures, and also including the different codes what we are applying for that. So this is what the specification for doors and windows. So my dear friends, the descriptive type of question which you are getting on this is, as I said previously also, the direct question will be there. Write detailed specification of the first class brickwork. There may be the ratio they may give, or they may ask you the second class brickwork also. And write the specification for timber, door and windows. Timber work for door and windows. That direct question will be there when you'll be writing it, right, in the paper. Full stretch paper will be there. And if you are going for the objective types, then you'll be having these questions: properties of bricks. All type of properties you are supposed to write. It should be no it should be hard, it should be strong, it should be carry the you know load. So all those you should write. It should not soak the water more than half of its weight. All those comes in the properties. Then maximum crushing strength, it is 10.5 newton per mm square. Brick shall not absorb water more than half of its weight. Then brick shall not brickwork shall not carried out more than the 1 meter height. Then what is that? It is watering for brickwork should be done for at least of I think it is given for 15 days or something. They have mentioned as 15 days, right? It is for 15 days. And timber framework here should be, frame should be standard size. The size of frame you are supposed to write, and that is 100 into 80 size. Then thickness of shutter is 40 shutter shall be what you can have. That shutter shall be of 40 size, or shutter shall be fully paneled, fully glazed, no partially paneled. The question should be clear, but it's not clear, right? Bad workmanship shall be repaired by the contractor by his own cost. That you are supposed to write. Gun foot means feet cube, right? So these are the few of the things that what you're supposed to keep in mind if you're going offline or online kind of exams. Okay, my friend, now the next specification. See, three different sequences I have taken, three different types of works I have taken here. See here, random rubble masonry is there. Then you will be having coast rubble masonry, and then ashlar rubble masonry. First of all, you should understand the work here: random rubble masonry, coast rubble masonry, and ashlar rubble masonry. In random rubble masonry, you don't have any courses. You'll be not having any courses. So you'll be using boulders which will be of more than 15 size in any direction, and then you'll be keeping it out by keeping some joint there. So this is the random rubble masonry. Coursed rubble masonry, here you will be having the different courses, layers will be there, right? But here also you will be using the no abrupt kind of a bricks, abrupt kinds of stones only, right? Means stones will not be of a proper shape and size, but no they will be more than 15 centimeter in all direction. That you have to keep in mind. And when you're going for the ashlar masonry, so ashlar, see here, this is ashlar is a very standard kind of a work. You'll be having a chiseled or properly cutted stone, means properly shaped and sized stones will be there for the ashlar masonry. That you have to keep in mind. So you'll be having a courses, you'll be having a proper size of a stone, then you'll be having the joints. You have to make sure the joints should be staggered. So this is the basic difference between all these three forms. But when you are going for the what you call that, no for the sequences, so I'll be having very few sequence here. The first sequence is about the properties of stone. You should know the properties of stone. And here the first one, if you enlarge this and if you see, the first one will be: the stone should be hard, sound, free from the decay and weathering effect, and size shall not be less than 15 centimeter in any direction. Now see this is same for all three. It will be very easy to write if you remember one specification, one work specification. Then you can easily write for different all three kinds of a stone masonry work. Only thing is that here also it is 15 centimeter, here also it is 15 centimeter, but here the stone size should be proper shaped, should be there, means 20 centimeter size should be there, right? Minimum height should be of 20 centimeter, and should be well chiseled stone should be there. That you have to keep in mind when you'll be writing for the ashlar masonry. Now the second no sequence will be mortar. Which type of mortar you will be using? See, cement sand used for the cement mortar shall be of standard size, standard specification. Whatever ratio will be there, that ratio you have to follow. And you should not you should use one bag of cement, and mix can be used within a 1 hour. at a time, one bag of cement you can use, and that whatever mix you are going to prepare, that you have to use it within half an hour, and this is remains same for all three, right? There will not be any change. Then we'll go for the next, workmanship. Now workmanship, see, all stones should be wetted before used, or or placed in a position, that you have to keep in mind. Then stone shall be hammered, dressed with with a wooden mallet. Wall shall be carried out with a truly plumb. Joint shall not exceed 20 mm. And then stone chips can be used in a joints to reduce the thickness of joint. Now, these all things will be written for this. So normal things, whatever will be there. Here we are using the stone chips in the joints to reduce the thickness of joint. But when you go for the coursed, this one, no, there will be having some changes. It will be also hammered and dressed one. And but there we are going to maintain the horizontality and verticality, but here we don't maintain the horizontality and verticality. Here we are going to maintain the horizontality and verticality. And there we are going to use a coarse stone, right? A coarse, we are going to use a coarse thickness should not be less than 3 centimeter and should not be more than 23 centimeter. You will be having coarse work here, different coarse work means different layers will be there, stone layers, and that should not be less than 3 centimeter and should not be more than 23 centimeter. You are going to use through stones at every height of 1.5 meter to stagger the joints, right? And when you are going to discuss about the ashlar masonry, it will be a totally different case. Here it is very properly courses will be there. Verticality and horizontality will be maintained. Mortar joint should not exceed 3 mm in the thickness. Only skilled laborers should be employed for this ashlar masonry, and even work should carried out, right? So that you have to keep in mind while discussing the workmanship. About the curing, see, all will be having 2 weeks, minimum of 2 weeks watering should be there for all three kinds of masonries here, right? Minimum of 2 weeks masonry. And measurement, all three we are going to measure in terms of meter cube. See, quantity will be L into B into D, here also L into B into D, here also L into B into D, right? And scaffolding, as I said, that whenever the work will be, if work is rising more than, height is rising more than 1 meter, or if it is not reachable easily to your hand, then you should have the scaffolding for that. And that scaffolding, as I said previously also, it should stand firm, it should take the load, it should have that proper, it should provide proper platforms to stand on that, to keep the material on that. So all these things should be kept in mind when you'll be writing the specification for the that different types of masonry, stone masonries. And rate, definitely the rate will be including with the scaffolding and all kind of things there. So total rate will be there with scaffolding, material and workmanship. Well friends, the next item is RCC work with a proportion. Proportion is given here, but usually that is going to vary. The proportion is going to vary, but here the standard proportion is 1 is to 2 is to 4 I have taken, and the specification for that we are going to write here. See, first of all, you should know the proportion, you should know the different materials, you should write the properties of material, you should write about the water. Then you are going to use the bars there, steel bars, so you are supposed to write the reinforcement. Then you are going to do the shuttering, you are supposed to write the shuttering, then mixing and laying, and then finishing. This is the usual sequence of RCC work. So first is proportion. According to the proportion here, 1 is to 2 is to 4 is there. So 1 part of a cement, 2 part of a sand, and 4 part of a aggregates you are supposed to take by the volume. Then cement, the property of cement you should write there. Cement should follow all the test, it should stand all these tests which are going to carry on the field as well as in the lab, and then it should comply with the standard requirements. Fine aggregate, see, fine aggregates, it should be free from all organic matter and impurities, vegetative matters and earthy material. If earth is there along with the sand, then you should wash the sand, then you are supposed to use it, and that I have mentioned it here. So these are the few important and proper points what I have mentioned here. Then coarse aggregate, see, the whatever coarse aggregate you are using for the 100%, in that 67% the aggregate what you are going to use, that should be of a no size 20 mm to 40 mm size, and the remaining 33 coarse aggregate should be of a size 20 mm to 6 mm. Means you are going to mix the jelly and grit, right? So the size 20 mm to 6 mm we call it as grit, and the size more than 20 mm we're going to call it as jelly or kapachi. So that you have to keep in mind, this word kapachi and grit, right? Then water, as previously we know that water should be a drinkable water, it should be clean and should be fresh. Then reinforcement, now this is about the bars. Reinforcement shall be no of a steel which shall comply the standard requirements as per the design and drawing, and they shall be laid in the proper position into the proper numbers, equal numbers or whatever the numbers mentioned in the requirements. Then centering. See, here for RCS work, centering is must, and it should be significantly strong and rigid, and it should take the load of concrete, and it should not fail during the casting. And centering material will be of you can use for timber. Mentioned here, you can go for the timber, you can go for the steel, or you can go for the plywood also. Now these are the things will be there with the centering. Now the next is mixing. If you go for the mixing, as I said, that you can go for the machine mixing now, or if you can go for the hand mixing also. If you are going with the hand mixing, then usually you should first mix a dry mix. You prepare a dry mix, then add a water, then rotate, or you can turn it out for the thrice or four times there, so you should have a proper mix there. Or if you're using the mechanical machines, you can have a drum, and that drum should have a rotation of 1.5 minute. Each rotation should be there for 1.5 minute. And right, mixing shall be done on a watertight platform if you are doing it a hand mixing. And the laying, how you are going to lay it. See, laying, centering shall be well watered before laying, and there should not be any honeycombing after removing of the centering, that you have to keep in mind. So laying, during laying, you have to make sure that you'll be using proper wide vibrations there, right? You should remove the air trap from that thing, you have to make sure, so that after removing the no centering work, you should not get the honeycombing there. And should keep the water well watered, right, for at least of 20 days. That is very important, right? And finishing of the exposed portion. After finishing, you're supposed to be apply the plastering of 12 thick over 3 coats, and then you're supposed to apply the white or color coating you can do on that. Now this is what the sequence of RCC work. This is very important work, RCC work, right, with the specification, with the sequence they have given the ratio proportion. Now we are going to see some of the important questions what we can get from that, right? So direct questions will be about the right, you are supposed to write the direct detailed specification for the random rubble masonry or coarse rubble masonry or ashlar masonry. And then you may get the question like that, to write a detailed specification for RCC work, whatever this proportion may be there. And objective type of questions here: in a random rubble masonry, size of stone shall not be less than dash dash in any direction, 15 centimeter in any direction. Then mortar mix can be used within I think within half an hour. You are supposed to use the whatever mortar you are going to use, you are going to prepare there, right? I don't know, half an hour or within 1 hour, I think, right? Within half an hour only. You're supposed to use half an hour. Within half an hour, you are supposed to finish the mortar. Then next is joint shall not be exceed. Uh, different things are there. Different for the random rubble masonry. Joint shall not be right. It should be of most probably 20 joint is there in rubble and coarse. And for this one 3 joint is there for the ashlar masonry, that you have to keep in mind. Then in coast rubble masonry, through stones are used for every height of 1.5 meter. The masonry should be well watered for at least of 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks means 15 days most probably. Only skilled labors are required in ashlar masonry. Then RCC work, see, coursed aggregate shall consist of 67% of black trap metal of size for RCC work is for 67%, 20 to 40 that you are going to write here. Black trap, the 40 to 20 is called as what? This we called as what? You can call it as kapachi, you can call it as jelly, or you can call it as coarse aggregate. Then 33 percentage of black trough with the size of 20 and 6 is called as what? Grit. This we are going to call it as grit. Then curing of RCC work can be done for minimum of 20 days, right? 21 days we go for testing. Then thickness of plastering applied over the RCC is thickness of plastering 12 thick plaster you are supposed to apply there. And you can have 3 coats of plastering. Now these are the few questions that you may get on the uh, masonry as well as on the RCC work. Okay, so friend, the next is cement concrete flooring, 1:2:4. Now cement concrete and RCC, you'll be having same sequence. Only thing is that there you'll be using reinforcement, here we don't have reinforcement, right? Only that difference is there. And also the centering work, it may be or it may be not. If you write that, that is also fine. If you don't, that is also fine, because sometimes no, we don't use centering on a regular basis. Whenever it is required, on some locations only we are going to use the centering work for this. We don't use any bars for the plain cement concrete. This is plain cement concrete for the flooring. And sometimes you may have the bars also on a larger spacing. You may lay the bars with a less dia, and you can go for the cement concrete flooring. That is also possible, right? The proportion, see, as I said, that whatever the given proportion is there, with that proportion you are supposed to use the cement, sand and coarse aggregate. That is one part of a cement, one part, two parts of sand, and four parts of a coarse aggregate. Cement usually should be of a standard. It should be fresh, it should be portable, and comply all standard requirements. Fine aggregates, see, as we have discussed, fine aggregate should be free from all organic matters and vegetative matters, and you should wash it if there is any trace of earth material with it. Then coarse aggregate, you should have the Kapachi of 67%, that is 20 to 40 size. You should use the grit of 33%, that is of 20 to 12 size, and that also free from the all impurities. Water should be clean and fresh. Then workmanship laying, no, you should provide first subgrade should be there to lay that. Then over that you are supposed to lay the concreting, and before laying you should spread the water, or you should sprinkle out the water, or should be properly make sure that the subgrade will be properly wetted. Then centering if required, then only you are supposed to use the centering, and that also for the sides, right? And mixing, as I said, that you can use machine mixing or a hand mixing, and you are supposed to add the 32 liters of water per bag. That is a very important point I have written here. Then laying and curing, see, normally cement concrete flooring shall be laid in a one operation using, or you can have the no joints with that, expansion joints. Keeping that, you can go for the continuous laying can be done, and it will be kept at least of 15 days, right, for the curing. Then finishing, as I said, that finishing can be done by cement mortar using 1:2 ratio. You can clear out the exposure portion and kept no set for so, no, you can allow for set for at least 24 hours. So this is what the sequence of concrete flooring. Now the sequence for the cement plastering, it is very easy, and only few things will you will be having there. See, if you know the things, that you can easily write down the cement plastering no sequence there. What we do there, we are going to clean out the work, clean out the surface, and we apply first coat, then we apply second coat. That's it, finish. And you are supposed to take the measurement. Two coats we are going to apply, right? And first thing what you are going to do is that you are going to uh, no clean the things that we call as what, preliminary step, right? Preliminary for first step will be the preliminary step there. The work of a sandfest plastering shall be carried out. After the masonry joints, you have to scrap it out, you have to rake it out for the depth of 20 and then walls are well watered. That thing you have to do here, that we call as a preliminary work. Then first coat you are supposed to apply. First coat, it should be of 1:2 ratio. First coat means 1:2 means one part of a cement and four parts of a sand. Then one bag, you are supposed to prepare a material for one bag, and you should use it within the 30 minutes or half an hour. Within that you are supposed to use it, or you are supposed to consume it. Then first coat, first coat, before applying the first coat, wall should get watered thoroughly. And first coat thickness you are supposed to apply with a 12 thick, that thickness you are supposed to apply there. It should be well watered for at least 7 days, right? And then you should provide with a zigzag lines to get the adhere with that second coat. See, whatever the first coat will be there, over the first coat, no, you have to draw the zigzag lines. Means you should, no, we call it as rendering, right? These kind of renderings you are supposed to do there, so that when you apply the next work, next layer, it should get adhere to that, right? Adhere to the first coat, so that we are going to apply the, it gives that adhering to that, right? Now the second coat apply. See, a second coat should be of ratio 1:1, one part of a cement to one part of a sand, and it should have the thickness of 8 right? That is very important work there. Then sand should be screened before use there, and you can use a sponge to water it out the face. Then after completion of second course, again you should make sure that you'll be watering it for 15 days. This is what for the plastering. How to measure it? This is a no. It is a what you call that? That is, it is a superficial area work. Means you are going to use the length and height only, or width and height only, to get the quantity. And rate will be include with the scaffolding work, whatever we are going to take this, right? So this is meter square item that you have to keep in mind. Well, probable questions on the flooring, cement concrete flooring, and the cement mortar. I have mentioned those questions here. First of all, we'll see the descriptive type, that whatever major questions will be there. So directly question will be there. Write a specification for cement concrete, or write a specification for cement mortar. That will be there. Then cement flooring 1:2:4. Cement concrete flooring. Here are few of the objective type of question. First question is finer grade should get washed if there is an any trace of earth, right? Water added per bag cement during the mixing is 32 liters. Then minimum curing period for the scaffold for the cc work is, I think for cc work it is I think 15 days, right? 15 days, 15 days. Then exposed surface are to be finished by the using cement mortar of a ratio 1:2, right? 1:2 will be the ratio here. Then cement mortar joints are to be raked to the depth of 20 mm. Then the one bag of cement should be prepared at a time. This is one bag. First coat should be dash dash thick with a ratio of, first coat should be it should be of no uh, what you can call it as thickness should be of 12 mm thick should be there. First coat should be of 12 mm. Second coat should be of 8 mm, right? So these are the few important questions on cement concrete floor as well as on the cement plastering. Right, my friends. So last two items we are going to see. The last ninth item, one before last ninth item is that ninth item is whitewashing. So it is very important that you are going to apply 3 coats of whitewashing. Here we are having this sequence. There you can see that first of all cleaning the wall, then application of lime and gum, then workmanship, cleaning and measurement. That application of lime and gum means application of whitewash. There here we are going to discuss how to prepare a whitewash. So first is wall to be clean, right? The walls with whitewashed shall be cleaned before the work starts. Then application, second, the cleaning can be done by any means. Then application of lime and gum means here we are going to see the how we are going to prepare the whitewash, right? The fresh white lime shall be slacked at a site work and shall be mixed thoroughly with a sufficient quantity of water and then screened through the clean cloth, right? Means you are supposed to take the mix of slaked lime and water, then you should screen it. Then whatever screened uh, no the amount will be there, that you have to add with a clean gum, or you can use a rice dissolved rice in a hot water also can be used there, right? So this is what you have to apply. That is how we can call it as what whitewash. Then you have to apply that. How we are going to apply that? See, you are supposed to use the jute brushes for that. Whitewash shall be applied with the jute brushes, and the brush shall be worked at a surface with a uniform color is obtained. 3 coats shall be applied each after previous coat has completely dried, right? One coat should get dried, then you're supposed to apply the next coat, and you're going to use the jute brushes for that. Cleaning, see, after applying whatever the stainings will be there, staining of whitewash on the floor and other surfaces shall be removed. That thing you have to clear. Then measurement, see, this is a square meter quantity, so we are going to consider square meter quantity. The payment shall be made on the superficial area, and opening shall be deducted once only. No, once only the opening you have to deduct there once only, because you have to compensate the door, whatever opening top, bottom and sides will be there, that also you have to compensate. So you are going to deduct at a once only. So this is what all about the specification of whitewash. So my friend, this is the last specification, and this is for the painting work. Painting, that also in 3 coats, as I said previously also, it is same as that of a whitewash. Here also we are going to clean the work before using paints, then we are going to apply the different coats of paint, and then we are going for the measurement. So first we'll see the cleaning, how it will be there. The surface can be can be cleaned and made smooth by the rubbing the sandpaper and different grades. In case of steel work, or dust and scale shall be removed thoroughly, and then broken edges, loose plasters, and all those things should get recovered and apply or made it, you know uh, prepare before using the paints there. Then you're supposed to apply the paint. A paint to be used shall be of a approved tint and make. standard paint you are supposed to take, and the pure turpentine shall be used for the thinning agent, as a thinning agent, right? So along with the turpentine you have to use the different paints there. Then coats, as I said that first of all you are going to apply the first coat, that we call as what priming coat shall be first applied, and then all cracks, holes and holes etc shall be filled with a putty and with a mixture of a glue and plaster of Paris. That you have to keep in mind, right? All first, whatever the openings or whatever the holes or cracks will be there, all those things you have to cover it out by using the mixture of a glue and plaster of Paris, or you can use the putty directly. The second coat of paint shall be of applied, and after it's drying, then you are supposed to apply the third coat. So all three sequences of applying the coats I have mentioned there in the coats. Then workmanship, the paint shall be applied in the best workmanship manner. Then brushes to be used shall be of a best quality, and then shall be worked in a such a way that the surface of uniform shade is obtained. That you have to keep in mind here in workmanship. Then the measurement again, it is a superficial quantity, means here we are going to consider the area, and the paint shall be what in a superficial content, means only area has to be considered. This is what all about the painting. Now we'll see few of the questions on this. Okay, few of the questions. See, write a detailed specification for whitewash of 3 coats. Write a specification for the painting of a 3 coats. That will be there. Handwritten means detailed, right? Descriptive type of questions will be there. And objective type of questions. Which are the objective type of questions you are going to get? Whitewash is a mix of. It is a mix of what? It is a mix of slaked lime and water, and you are going to add the glue, or you're going to add the rice dissolved with the water, right? Hot water. Then whitewash can be applied by jute brushes. Measurement of whitewash is done in terms of meter square superficial area. The point to be here painting, the point to be used shall be of approved, the paint sorry, the paint, right? The paint to be used shall be of approved, what is that, approved tint and making, right? That should be there. Tint and making will be there, right? Approved tint and making. Standard paint you are supposed to use there. The first coat applied is so first coat, what you are going to apply, the first coat applied is called as priming coat, right? This is priming coat, very important one. Then crack and holes, if any, can be filled with a, you can fill with a putty, or you can fill with a mixture of a glue and a plaster of Paris. Then measurement or the limit of measurement is the unit of measurement is, right? The measurement or the unit of measurement is meter square. Paint meter square, superficial area it is there, so it will be in terms of meter square. Yes my friends, this is what from my side. If you are having any doubt, let me know. You can call me at any time. So this is what from my side. Stay tuned. I am Professor Balasaheb Jamada. Thank you.